Hello, and welcome to what is going to be an attempt to all grain brew again. Problem is, I bloody forgot how you do it, and I even forgot how to work the chuffing thing. So I filled it up. Obviously, everything's been sterilised already. I filled it up with hot water to about 22 litres. Because bearing in mind, I've got to put the bloody mash stuff in. Um, Yeah, I've got the boil on now. I've got it to boil up to 65. So, yeah, this should be interesting. Yeah, I've got right about neck and up. So, I should tell people what's going off so people in the future can watch and think, well, I'm not doing it the way he did it because it's crap. So, I went to a place called, I've got the photo somewhere. Anyway, I've got the instructions, which is really what I need. Aha! So, from Brewday Supplies, this is a Lenton Lane chocolate mile brew kit, all grain kit. So here's the all grain, right big chuffing piece of it there. There we go. There it is, the all grain. Marisotta pale, 3.7 kilograms. Chocolate malt, 660 grams. Vienna malt, 450 grams. Torrefied wheat, 450 grams. And amber malt, 300 grams. Good afternoon, John. So yeah, now I've only ever brewed once before on all grains, so I'm going to be crap at it. But there you go. So here it says 60 minutes single infusion mash at 65 degrees, boil for 60 minutes. So yeah, heat the mash water, mash in the grain bill, mash at 65 for 60 minutes. Heat sparge water. I'm already struggling. Heat sparge water for a sparge temperature of 76 degrees. Also mash. Sparge. I get it. So you mash it first and then you sparge it afterwards. Fucking hell. Tell you what, confusing as hell. It's one of them times where I really ought to have looked at the internet again. So you mash first, then you sparge, and then you boil, and then you add your hops. Yeah, I should know how to do this. I've actually done bloody brewing at breweries, you know. So, hope everyone's well in the land of the internet. Should be good. Good evening, Mr. Borman, in Barcelona, Brewdog Barcelona. Hey, cracking. What's the weather like over there? Got to be warmer than the UK. Bloody freezing over here still. Although today, to be fair, today was a little bit warmer. So I've got some gear here. Let's have a look. Because I'm in the kitchen, as you can see as well. So a bit strange. I've got to do this. So I thought, well, if I've got to do it, and I'm bound to make about 20 degrees, warm enough. Have you been in work today? Yeah. I've been on my knees all day weeding, and I've got the worst neck ache because of it as well. So we've got this. We've got SO4. I presume that's the yeast. So whatever that is, looks. Oh, it's ale yeast. Yeah. It's yeast. Says it on the back. So I've got that. I've got Brewday Lenton Lane chocolate mild. Oh, hop one. So it says it's EKG, whatever EKG is. Yeah, I ain't got a clue. Second hop, EKG again, is 50 grams of that, 10 grams of the first hop, and the third hop is Chinook. So here's where it gets different. So that's just what tells you what's in the kit. So that's all good. So if I remember right, obviously I did the Wraggy's Golden Ale. So you do the mash part first, then you sparge it, and then you yeah, and then obviously you prat about boiling it as well. So good evening, Rod. How are we? For some reason, the comments are coming up faster on my Chromebook than they are on the phone. And the phone, I'm obviously looking at the phone to do it. So yeah, this is my attempt because I last did a grain brew last July, and I haven't done one since, primarily because the stupid cost of electric and that. But I'm doing 2 grain brews for my wedding vows, so it's a case of having to. So I'm getting it up to 65 degrees. We're already on 53.8. I've already filled it. East Kent Goldings Ups. I've already filled it with hot water straight from the boiler upstairs. I did it before, it was fine. Ours is not a tank boiler, but one that the water comes from the main straight through the boiler, straight back down the pipes. So it's a lot cleaner. If it was going into a tank, I'd have had to do it, straight from nothing, and that would be a lot more expensive electricity wise. So yeah, heat the mash water to desired strike temperature, which is 65 degrees, obviously. Mash at 65 degrees for 60 minutes. Heat sparge water for a sparge temperature of 76 degrees. That's a joke, that, isn't it? Because I'll put the kettle on about halfway through, I think, and then just sit here chatting. And I've got myself a bottle of the, it's not bloody pop. I've got myself a bottle of the, oh, Jesus, what's it called? Coffee porter, Munton's coffee porter, absolutely spot on. So, because obviously doing this, what I found out last time is this takes a while to do, obviously, because you have to mash it for an hour, boil it for a bloody hour. And I thought to myself, well, while I'm sat here like a twonk, I might as well put the old internet on and do a live and have a chat while I'm doing it. And then anybody who's a real grain brewer can laugh and at my absolute inadequacies. It's funny because there's the instructions. So if I put the instructions close by, you can just about read what it says. Oh, there you go. So there's all the instructions. So you'd think they'd be idiot proof. Yeah, they've never met me. Yeah, gardening. Yeah, computers. Yep. Brewing bloody beer. No, I can do home brew, obviously, and I've done some decent brews over the years. So we're at 57.4. Once I reach 65, then it's chuck the mash in. So yeah, chuck the grain in. So Lenton Lane Brewery, they're chocolate mild. It's a brilliant beer. But what I'm going to do, I've got this. Yeah. I did it a year ago, and the beer turned out absolutely spot on. Although, if you're doing it week in, week out, like all things, if you're doing it all the time, then you always remember what to do, in a fashion at least. But it's been a long while, so I'm obviously going to be a little bit, what's the word? Crap. But yeah. So 58.7. So I hope everyone's okay in the world of the internet. It's a strange old world at the moment, isn't it? I've had to come off social media. I've had to start blanking. On YouTube, you get fed all these war channels. They want you to watch things about the Ukraine and Moscow, what's happening there. And as sad as it is, I don't want it ramming down my neck because it gives you stress. Right, 59.4. 65 degrees I'm aiming for, apparently. So yeah, this is going to be one of those. I'm not to do a brew, but we'll see. And I'm doing this week because I've got an imperial stout on the go. That's going to go in next week, probably next Monday even. So this is like a refresher to remind myself how the hell to do it. I mean, and then I may even do some other brews, but I may just keep to what's the name brews kits, because the thing with kits, one it's 20 minutes and bish bash bosh, it's over. I am looking to add in secondary fermentation when it's in the barrel. I'm looking to add cookie dough essence. I've got the essence, so I'm gonna add that to the pour. So should be interesting. Now I'm looking. Our water is absolutely spot on. For other people, you might have to get this water chemistry thing and have a pH of 5.3 and all that. I mean, sod that. 61.6, we're going there. Right. I've got my stirrer. Oh dear. Got scissors. I've got a thermometer. I don't know why I need a thermometer, but I got it for whatever reason. I think that's for the sparge, to be fair. I mean, I'm thinking that once I boil the kettle about halfway through, that it will take 30 minutes to cool down to about 75 degrees. That's for hopes and aspirations. Otherwise, I've got to pour it into a bloody jug and see how let it go down naturally. It's so precise, isn't it? If you've ever done all grain brewing, the preciseness is just wacky. 62.7. I bet there's brewers out there looking, thinking, oh, tosser. Yeah, he's crap. Obviously, this is brew in a bag, so it is what it is on that side of things. 63, so we're nearly there. Right, 63.2. So the job starts, and yeah. At least people can look at this video and think, right, there's a better way of doing that. And in some ways, that's always the thing. I forgot that there's a temperature thing here, this little lead that you have to put in. So I'm on the outside thinking, what's this? And good afternoon, Tucker. Went to see Wrexham's women's team playing yesterday. There was 9,500 there. Wow. Well, look at Wrexham in that division, and it's the strange thing because Notts County in the same year are playing amazing. Them two teams are going to do amazing in the next division. Just goes to show you how a big name can really bump things up. So we're at 64.4. Like I say, I'm going to chuck the grain in. It's at 65. There's my instructions. So I've got to stay to the instructions. The only thing is, it says here, so it's going to go on the boil for 60 minutes. 30 minutes from the end of boil, you add opt 1. 10 minutes from the end, opt 2. 5 minutes from the end, opt 3. How bloody precise is that? 65, we're there. Right, chuck this in. Right, so thoroughly mix, mash for 60 minutes. Okay, now. Pardon my French. Right, here we go. Maybe I should have put more water in, but I'll assume when it. God, that's a lot of grain. Right, so there's the grain in. Right, so that's it. Oh yeah, the water's cooked. Oh. Bollocks. Yep, told you it'd be a laugh. Where's that lead? Right. There'll be people watching this thinking, oh my God, what is he doing? First lesson, I didn't bloody tie the bag. So I put this in and it's already come loose. It's all right now, so I've got my hand on it. Just, whoops. So, thoroughly mixing, obviously, like wood of porridge, really. That's basically what it is. It's just like a blooming porridge. Mixing the big porridge. Obviously, in a brewery, and they just do this on a much bigger scale in the brewery. And smells amazing. You know, if you ever get the chance, absolutely smells amazing. You know, if you get a chance to do a brew day with a local brewery or with somebody, even a local grain brewer, go and help them out on a great, and you'll learn a lot more than you will from me. That's for sure. Peg the bag, a lot easier. I ought to have done. So the temperature is 65.4. So at 6:17, bloody hell, I need to remember that. I can leave the mash. Do the sparge bit. It's not like doing a beer review. Bish bash bosh beer reviews. Ah dear. So it's a messy old process, I know that. So the chocolate mild is supposed to come out at 5.4. Maybe I should have chucked the old bag in and then just then again it's getting the bugger out again, isn't it? So it smells like porridge, looks like porridge, it is porridge. So I've got till 1/4 blooming. Watch the dough balls. Watch the dough balls. I'm not doing that for 60 minutes. It's a pain in the arse. Can't remember last time doing it. So once you, oh yeah, heat the mass. Make sure to thoroughly mix. Yeah, I'm not bloody mixing for 60 minutes though. Right. I think I need a beer watching it. Yeah, it's gonna fail, isn't it? Actually, I've got a beer. I learned that. You know that when I did the Citra the Citra one, I did the Citra, and I was that long in the bloody kitchen. I thought I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, fucking hell, I could have gone and done something while I'm sitting there waiting. So every few minutes, I'm gonna give it. So I had a bit of boiling water with 2 dry dough balls, or balls of dried grain. Thank you for. This is where I'm glad there's people watching because yeah, I'm not knowledgeable. To be fair, it's not bad. I'd like to show you, but the minute I move that camera, it's going to be an issue. So what I'll do this. I'll show you it on this camera. So there we go. There we go. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. You need to try and maintain the temperature for the length of your mash. Yeah, I've got it heated here. So the heat, it's one of these Pico things, and it kicks back in. So for the to keep it at 65. So he says. Makes you wonder, do you put the bloody lid on? That my beer reviews. I'm a learner. We're all learners in life, aren't we? Yeah. Still learning now as a gardener. Never mind as a bloody some idiot doing trying to brew some beer. I mean, it's smelling absolutely amazing. How long will a grain brew keep for? I'm going to stick it in a barrel. I mean, really, it should last for as long as you need it to last. I'm going to stick it in a barrel, secondary ferment it, seal the barrel, and then open it on July the 14th. Obviously, for secondary fermentation, I'm going to add cookie dough. I need to remember these chuffing times. That's the problem. So I'll just keep that like that for now. Put lid back on. Put lid on so it stops it going off, going to. So I hope everyone's okay. I did say it's an experiment, and there are a lot better people out there than me. But sometimes, sometimes it's fun to watch some idiot going wrong, and then think, yeah, I'm not doing that way. And I mean, I'm doing this, like I said, I'm doing this week. So for the sticky toffee pudding imperial stout that I'm going to brew, hopefully that will turn out better, and turn out okay. This isn't an expensive kit. It's literally, I think it's something like 13 to 20 quid or something. I can't remember perfectly what it was. But obviously this imperial stout, you're looking at 40 quid. So I want it to be better. I don't want to cock up that. Bad enough cocking up. Although the imperial stout, I'm adding sticky toffee. I'm treacle rather. I'm adding treacle. I'm adding dates that you've got to chop up. So that's going to be hilarious. To be fair, at the end of the day, for me, as long as it's near enough, that's all that matters for me. This sparge will be funny when interesting when I do that. I remember last time what I did, I actually used something out of the oven, put it on the top, got the bag, put the bag here, poured it over, and it fell through, squashed the bag, and that was it. Job's a good one. Obviously, it's great watching yourself on camera. I can see myself about 10 seconds afterwards, and I'm looking and thinking, bloody hell, you've got grey hair. So take that off. Keep giving it a stir, make sure there's nothing dry. I'm not getting no dough balls at the moment though, so that's a good thing. It's not the most interesting thing watching brews, is it? I've got to be honest. It's not interesting for me. Although going to a brewery and doing it, it is interesting because when they tell you all this stuff, it's like, wow. Although proper brewers, when they look at this, they'll be thinking, okay, now, what are you doing? Swap. You're doing that wrong, yo. It's amazing. You keep getting a spot where where there's a bit of dryness in it. Keep seeing like the odd spot of dryness. So you've really got to give this a good swirl. Obviously, you've got to get all the sugars out, sugar turned to alcohol and all that business. Smells amazing though. It smells like the best porridge ever. I'm not doing whiskey and wort though. So yeah, not the most interesting of my lives, to be fair. I remember when I did the last Grain Brew last year, it looked shit at the end. It really did. It looked bloody awful. And it came out the most amazing orangey colour. Citra Pale Ale it was, and it came out brilliant. So, I mean, at the moment, this looks disgusting at the moment. Fucking thing. Oops. Oh, here we go. You fucking get down there. Yeah, so we get moving it too much. There's that thing in the water. Oh dear, oh dear. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? Okay, now I need a. No wonder I've cracked open a beer. So. Well, I've got to 6:15, and hey ho. So yeah, I'm also brewing upstairs the double Easter brew, 2 kits of Easter brew. I'm going to add rum and raisin. Oh God. Travel by Elvis Presley on YouTube. And if you want to use a particular app for music, just ask me to change your default music provider. Yeah, and fuck off. Got these phones. They're funny, aren't they? So funny. It says 67 on there, and it should be keeping it at 65. That's weird. Hopefully that don't do any. Oh, it's going back down again now. Yeah. Didn't have any issues with that last time. Oh well, all good fun. So I remember when I was at Lincoln Green doing the Wraggy's Golden, and the time in between, you know, you've got to have a good watch on you or have alarm sets so you can add the hops and everything at the right time. And when I do the boil, what I'll do the first alarm 30 minutes. And it's funny really because it says here 30 minutes from end of boil, add hop 1. What it ought to say is set your alarm for 30 minutes, obviously 30 minutes for the first one, set an alarm for 50 minutes and then set an alarm for 55. All from that moment that you put the brew on. That to me would be a more sensible option. But yeah, it's like, good evening, Mr. Mercedes. It's been a while. And as you can see, I'm trying to do a grain brew. I'll show you what it's looking like at the moment. I'll take a photo. It's easier that way, isn't it? In it, you. There we go. So, there we go. So, woof, there we go. That's what it's looking like at the moment. 65 degrees. I've got to 6:15, so I feel like a prostitute waiting for somebody to come and pick me up. Oh God, bad neckache. Got the worst neckache. So what does everyone think about the supermarket beer releases at the moment in Tesco's and Sainsbury's? To me, like last spring, it was quite a weak, shall we say, releases. What hops are you using? East Kent Goldings, and that, thanks to John for that, because I just says EKG, and I'm like, what the fuck's EKG? So yeah, 3 hops, East Kent Goldings there, Chinook, and more East Kent Goldings. So I need to make sure I put them in the right way. So it's going to be a chocolate mild. It's going to be supposedly 5.4% if I get it right. You know, we'll see. The sparge will be the hilarious bit. And then on secondary fermentation, I'm going to add a cookie dough essence. And this is going to be ready for my July the 14th for my wedding vows. And the bad thing is, one, I've still not sorted out a stag do. It's probably sometime at the end of May, I reckon. 2, I've not sorted out a best man, although it's a wedding renewal, so don't think I really need a best man. You know, get my son to all the bloody rings. And 3, I've still not set the invites out, or the invites out for the wedding yet. But obviously, for that, you know, I've got this thing where I'm really. I feel bad sending invites out to people and putting them in the position, you know, making it awkward. So, I mean, for me, I'd have all the beer community there, but obviously, you know, it only holds so many people. And then it's obviously getting to Nottingham and all that. So yeah, I've got to get my arse into gear. We've had such a busy start to the year that we're still nowhere near where we should be. So keep giving it a stir now again, just to. This is the precursor for the Imperial start next Monday night. And to be honest, if I can borrow a bottle, if I can borrow a barrel or 2, I may do even more. Right, picked up some bits from supermarkets, mostly home bargains, but trying to Rainville and the Optimist. Optimism, that's the one that's closed, isn't it? The one in Loughborough. Rainville came over tomorrow, huh? Are you thinking about doing stag do? Probably just going around the craft beer pubs of Nottingham. There's so many, you know. Obviously, I'm not going around any dickhead pubs, but yeah, like the Keen's Head, Junkyard, Kilpin, one in each of the big craft beer pubs, and probably down to the old neon wrapped Liquid Light. And all that, and yeah, that's what I'm hoping anyway. Sometime at the end of May, I will put it out there, and then if people want to join, then that'll be amazing. You know, obviously, I understand it's bloody hard. Everyone's got monetary issues at the moment. Having your North Brewing transmission reduced to £1.58, you can't beat a bargain, can you? Heaven, I don't know if you've got a Heaven near you in whatever part of the country you're in. Heron is a very interesting place to get cheap beers from at the moment. There's some absolute belters in Heron at the moment. My mate, he keeps getting them, but it's this thing, you've got to be going in nearly on a daily basis, and I don't go to shops very often anyway. But yeah, certainly looking at the end of May for like a stag do, and I'm going to send tentative invites to people, and obviously I know that getting to Nottingham, getting somewhere to stop out, all these things, money is an issue, which is why I've been thinking, there's no easy way because it's an expensive time at the moment. Love North Transmission. I think it's the best core range beer they do. They bought the mini keg. So the Wraggy's Beer Festival. I looked online last week, and a lot of the local breweries have done my anniversary today. 13 years. 13 years married. Oh, bless you, mate. Happy anniversary. My heaven doesn't sell alcohol. Yeah, my local B&M don't either. The one up the road don't sell alcohol. Yeah, absolutely crap. That smells amazing, by the way. Love the smell of it. The sparge will be crap. I'll be crap doing the sparge. But I've contacted the local breweries because I went online last week and nobody's doing mini kegs, or very few. And I'm thinking, I don't want 6 for one bloody brewery, because I want maximum of 2 or 3 from a particular local brewery. I've already got 3. Over the bush, aka not married. 10 years living in sin. Oh, okay. We were 7 years before we got married, to be fair. It's getting a right nice dark colour to it. I was tempted to chuck a bag of sugar in, for ABV sake, but I'm being good. So I've just flattened it off again, give it a bit of a stir, flattened it off. If anybody's thinking of doing homebrew, the Muntons Coffee Porter is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I wanted to get out of a mortgage and a marriage. Yeah, the boss isn't here at the moment. She's out doing exercising. So I've got the kitchen. The kids, my oldest son and my younger son are upstairs. So I can keep the kitchen. They didn't know it's going to be about 3 hours at minimum of me being in here before they can cook their dinner. But hey, they'll have to wait, It is what it is. A brew day is an actual brew day, isn't it? It's luckily I've got this contraption in the sink. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, to cool the water down for the yeast part of it. And keep it, put the temperature down to 20 degrees. I bought that because otherwise it was going to be, you're going to be waiting for like a twat before you can put the yeast in. Although, to be fair, I'd just put the lid on and then come back to it tomorrow morning. Is what it is. But yeah, I mean, the instructions are good. If you're interested in doing grain brewing, Brewday supplies these fellas. Brewday, they do some good instructions, some good all grain kits. I'm going to do more, but hopefully when the price of electricity comes down, and when I'm not on a year, when we're not trying to do 2 weddings in the same year. Daughter's wedding in September, although technically we hadn't had to pay anything after that. But our wedding vows, and then a couple of little holidays here and there. So, and still ain't got the car sorted. So I've got to find a mechanic who's a genius to work out what the hell the prat who fucked about in my car did. But pardon my French. Didn't think I could speak French, did you? Parlez-vous français? But yeah, I've got to 6:15. Bloody hell, I don't know how these brewers go on. I don't. I mean, surely they're doing other work while they're waiting for it to crack on. Because I'll be pulling my bits out. You can't always be drunk at work. I mean, when I went on the Bang the Elephant brew day, oh my God, 7 o'clock in the morning, 13% Imperial Stout. Wow, what a day that was. Yeah, I can remember. Oh, actually, I can't remember most of it, to be fair. Don't think I upset anyone. Although, funnily enough, I've never been invited back to one since, so that tells you everything. They probably think that Wraggy is just a pisshead. Well, they're half right, but there you go. You go on, Bobby. Just got to keep making sure that that bloody thing's in the water. Booking Ireland and Prague this year. Ireland's a lovely place to go to. There's a good theme park. What used to be Tato Park, but I'm not sure what it's called now. But yeah, lots of breweries. If you look for your breweries around, and that's what we're doing now. We're obviously last October we went up to Filey and we did Bridlington, Scarborough. I would have loved to have done Whitby, but we didn't at the time. And we've just gone to what's it called? Caister-on-Sea near Great Yarmouth, and obviously went down to Adnams, and that was fucking that was absolutely stunning. Adnams, you know, if people watching this now in the future, if you ever get the chance to go to Southwold and stay somewhere nearby and spend a day or even 2 days in Southwold, the tap room, the brewery tour. We didn't go on the brewery tour, but we were talking to people. The tap room was amazing. The tap bar, food, 17 quid for fish and chips. It's not the cheapest, but the fish and chips were nice. The food was nice, to be fair. But the beer, I mean, it's the beer, the spirits, the wine. It's all Adnams and 542. Yeah, all Adnams, absolutely superb. Now it's funny. It doesn't tell you how much water to sparge over the top. So that's interesting. Heat sparge water for a sparge temperature of 76 degrees. But yeah, thinking of driving and getting the ferry. Want to take the dog? Yeah, I would, mate. Dog friendly these days. If you get the chance, you're the only driver. Shit. If you get the chance, looking at a hotel in a brewery, really cracking. If you get the chance, drive over to say, or have a chat with other people who live in that Londonderry and near the border. Check out your supermarkets that are near the border of Ireland, so you can go across and you know, like your 4 for £6 at Tesco. Last time we went to Northern Ireland, Jesus Christ, the amount of good beers on a 4 for £6, beers that you've never tasted before, beers that you'd pay probably £5 over here. When am I going to review the Tally Ho? Probably sometime this week. Yeah, it's sitting there. It's telling me, review me, Billy, review me. Yeah, I definitely want to. I've got literally, I'm not joking, because of last weekend, this weekend, I've literally got about 50 reviews, and that's not a joke either. 50 reviews lined up, and that's before I mean, I'm not probably not going to do a review tonight, to be fair. I do a lot of the cask reviews now, so they are less, you know, sub 1 minute reviews, but they're good. They're good for if you know, for the pub. If you're going into a pub and you want to see what's out and about at the moment, it's interesting for that, or seeing how the beer tastes. But the popular reviews are down the shed, obviously, and Tally Ho's are obviously going to be shed with you. So, what are we on? I've still got half an hour. Jesus, mother of Christ. We'll give it a vivacious stir in a minute. 3 litres normally for sparging. Thank you, Tucker. Thank you. Ooh. What I might have to do is boil the kettle a couple of times it's leaving it to get down. I mean, I can't remember what temperature a kettle boils at, the water. Is it 100 degrees? So it's leaving it to boil the kettle, put it into a jug, and how long it takes, you know, to cool down. It's never easy, is it? Unless you've got water at 75 flipping degrees. But I'm looking forward to it. Chocolate mild woman, and obviously we're gonna add the woman raisin essence. I've had to go out and buy. I'm gonna have to go out and buy new. I've got my barrels, but we've had them like, God, flipping out 13, 14 years. So the taps are broke. The only problem is at my wedding vows, I'm having 3 or maybe 4, depending. 3 barrels of 40 pints. So I'm having a double chocolate, a rum and raisin double chocolate stout, imperial maybe, in one. A cookie dough chocolate mild, i.e. this one, in another, and a sticky toffee pudding imperial stout in another. Northern Ireland, that's ferry Liverpool to Belfast. We'll have to see. I think mother-in-law is coming on. She wants to go to Giant's Causeway. Yeah, you got to fill the boot, mate. Giant's Causeway. I've been there. Yeah. I've been there. I didn't really rate it, to be honest. It's just a lot of bloody strange steps in the rocks, but you know, each to their own. Obviously, for some people, I mean, it's a stunning country, Northern Ireland is. Although we drove over, I can't remember what it's called. If my wife was there, she'd shout in. But we drove over like the mountain tops to get to Londonderry at 60 miles an hour. And it was as foggy as hell. You're driving at 60 miles an hour and you literally can see about 5 feet in front of you. If anything had ran out, it would have been dead. Luckily it didn't, but you know, there you go. So I've got till 6:15 to sparge it. Yep, right. Check your sparge volume according to your equipment. This is the funny thing, isn't it? You know, with brewing, how much water did you put in at first? And then you've got this like the sparge bit. You know, I'll have to get a bucket or something to put bloody grain in. Oh God, I've got a right bad neck. And then you've got the sparge element. And what I bobbed up on last time when I did this process, and I should have filled it up once the hops were in. I should have filled it up a bit more or at the end when it went into the fermenter, poured a bit of water in just to get it to the right. So I've got 23 litres or whatever it should be, which will bring the ABV down a bit because obviously you're diluting it a bit. But it's all interesting. For those who are just coming, I'll show you. So we're about half an hour into the mash part of it, and there you go. That's basically what it looks like even now. So there's no difference. I'm going to give it every 5 minutes. Give it another stir around. You know, try and release them sugars because obviously the sugars and the flavour. It's what makes the beer, isn't it? I mean, it smells nice. Certainly got a nice dark colour to it. If I was rich, I would definitely go into grain brewing properly. I mean, I'd love a proper Wraggy's tap room, but you know that requires money. But you'd want to win the lottery and have money that you can burn. You know, get a business going. I mean, for me, I've seen even now in a cost of living crisis, there's people opening micro pubs. Their range of beers is a great range of beers. I know what to do because I've seen what the best of them do. And to be fair, I know all the local breweries anyway, so getting the right beers from the right breweries won't really be a problem. Obviously, a mix of beers, you couldn't have 10 imperial stouts on because one, you didn't get that many people in. But a mix of beers, and then a mix of breweries as well, you know. You've got to think, I suppose, as a beer fan, what would you want? To be fair, I look at all the local pubs that are doing well, and you can see what really works and what doesn't work as well. So, phone's there somewhere. Where's my phone? So, cheers all. You can sparge with cold water. It just takes longer to get to boil. Ah, right, yeah, I didn't know that. So I'm probably going to boil the kettle in a minute, and you can sponge. Oh shit! I've been kneeling over all day and pulling weeds up, and then all of a sudden I must have done my neck. Oh, I've got the worst neck ache. Not the best night to be trying to do this, but hey, you always cock your neck to one side, don't you, when you've pulled something? So literally got another 24 minutes of the mash, and then it's on to I need to wait a minute. Thank God the toilet's next door. Downstairs toilet, jolly good show. Yeah, 24 minutes of mashing to go, and then obviously the sparge, and then to the boil. Boil was the fun part. Got to warm the house up, and then the hops. Adding in the hops. End of boil. Turn off your heating. Cool your water to a pitching temperature of 20 degrees. Thank God I've got this fella, because it's amazing for doing that. Although could have done it going to the shed and getting a bloody posi drive. Ah, it'll be all right. Oh. So yeah, you can understand in breweries why you know you've got to be doing something else. I couldn't just be stood watching that all day in day out. I suppose you do all your paperwork and all that, and so this Thursday I'm off up to Sutton Ashfield for the Heist Brew Tap Takeover at Fire Rock Brewing. Looking forward to that. I'm going to have a third of every beer on the menu. So there's 12 beers on keg, 3 beers on cask, so 15 beers to get through. God, let's hope not all strong. Let's hope there's some 4%ers in the mix. Yeah. And then try not to fall asleep on the bus on the way home, because I've done that and it's not good. Yeah, woke up in Nottingham city centre, totally disorientated, walking around. The phone went. Wife says, "Where are you?" I says, "I don't know," and I really didn't know. I fell asleep. I had a right good sleep on the bus. It's an hour and a quarter, the bus ride. So you know, you've got to be careful. I think what I might do is when I catch the bus on Thursday, sit near the conductor and say to him, "I need to get off at City Hospital, mate. Wake me up if I fall asleep." Yeah, that might be an idea actually. Yeah. We'll have some alarms set next to me tabs so it wakes me up. So good to see everyone joining in, and for those who are watching, glad you've got the patience of a saint. It's bad enough doing this side, but watching, wow. But yeah, I mean this Pico, you know, for cheap all grain brewing. Like I say, Brewday supplies, they change the instructions if you're using like what I'm doing, brewing a bag. So they change the instructions to adapt for brewing a bag. I don't know if brewing a bag is different to proper all grain. I've no idea. Not really interested, because obviously I'm doing it this way because that's the way I need to do it. But I can't imagine there's a massive amount of difference. But Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's got a lovely colour to it now. It's got a lovely brown colour. Let me, yeah, it doesn't look like dishwater, which is probably a good thing. So just keep giving it another mix. Trying to get as much out of this malt as possible and the wheat. Do I prefer kits over grain for the pissing about? I think I do really, but and for the cheap, it's not massively cheaper to do it this way, really. When you factor in the fact that you've got to spend a lot more longer doing it, but you can do clones of your best bitters, whatever favourite beer you've got. There's a recipe out there to clone it. So yeah, your favourite beer, cloning your favourite beer. That might be an interesting one to do at some stage. Not always a strong beer. Oh, to set a Lincoln Green. Can you pass me the? Can you give me the instructions for Wraggy's Golden Ale? And then see if it's see if they'll do that. Right. Quick toilet break and back on with it. Now, I was going to use a vegetable bag for the hops, but I can't find it. So, yeah, I've lost it somewhere. So it looks like I'm going to be just chucking the hops into the boil like I did last time. So it is what it is. I don't think this is heavy on hops as that was anyway. So yeah. So 6:15, still 18 minutes of the mash element to go. Wow. Thank God for beer, that's all I can say. You need a beer while you're doing this. I wasn't going to record it, then I thought, no, I'll record it, and then the people that can want to have a laugh, they can. But you can also see how long it takes and this, you know, what you need. I mean, I got this Pico, and it's got the digital display for the heating. Paid a bit more for that, but I think that was better than the other one. I think the other one, you know, it's like a dial, but you want digital, don't you, really? I mean, it smells absolutely lovely. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to the sparge process. I've got to be honest. But we'll see. And obviously, it's a long time. It's a lot of messing about. So, sparge water for sparge temperature 76 degrees. So what I might do is boil that again now. There we go. And it should calm down by then. And in fact, what I'll do, 3 litres for sparge. That's quite interesting. It doesn't tell you that on the instructions. So obviously when you take the grain out of it, it's going to take some of the moisture out of it. Oh, got my neck. Right, let me get a couple of bits. Right. So I'll get this for the spent grain, it says. And these two for the 3 litres of water. Get rid of the rubbish. Next week, sticky toffee pudding. That's going to be a lot more interesting. Let me give it another stir. I must say, last time with this, with the grain, I just stuck it on the garden, and yeah, it came out nice in the end. Good for my plants. Right, so pour that out, pour that into there. That should cool down quite nicely in the time. And take the lid off. Oh God, bad neck or what? So I ain't got to mess about. I'm using the water cooler thing to. Oh well, hold on. Yeah. Good evening, Tess. Yeah, making a spotted porridge. Yes, jolly good show. It's a chocolate mild. Well, supposed to be, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. But yeah, that's what it's looking like. There we go. Supposedly, it's going to turn out at about 5.4%. I'm going to add secondary fermentation, cookie dough essence to it, and I've got now 13 minutes left of the mash element. So, yeah, we'll see if it turns out like anything. Yeah. If it turns out drinkable, I've done well. Oh, shit my neck. It has been a long time, hope you well. Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing this for my wedding vows. So I'm doing 2 grain brews for the wedding, and probably a couple of kits, as well as anything up to 20 to 25 mini kegs from local breweries. So it's going to cost a bit, but there's going to be some very, very abbreviated people. I'm getting that's going to be at Copcliffe, a burn stump. So yeah, should be a good night. Hopefully, if this turns out. That's clean. I'll use that for the old sparging. July. Yeah, July the 14th. There's going to be quite a few people there. There's good, well, oh, shoot. That's if they all come, obviously, because you invite people, whether they come or not, you know, it's what it is. But yeah, it should be a good laugh. If you're up for it, it'll be a cracking night. Now, getting home, there's the other part of the equation. Because I know that Dave's on about coming, Goathead, and he's on about bringing a tent. And I've spoke to my bosses, and they've says if they want to put, yeah, they're fine to put tents up. There's a secure area for tents. There's a separate like field. 4 beers. And I've still got 10 minutes of this blooming mashing. It's killing me. doing lives is one thing in the shed, but doing lives, doing brewing, yeah. And then it's trying to remember if you're doing it right. Yeah, yeah, never easy. I've got the sparge bit. The boil was easy because you just turn it to 75 and you just wait for an hour. Well, you wait for 30 minutes and then another 20 minutes and then another 5 minutes. Pistol brewing. Isn't that what a lot of brewers do? That's what these collabs are, aren't they? It's all people getting drunk during brewing. Right, leave that to cool down. That'll cool down. That's what you do. Do you do grain brewing as well then? I know you did blending kits, which I think is a great thing. I'm always tempted to get the a stout kit and a ginger beer kit and brew a ginger stout. Or even, I mean, I've done a ginger barley wine. And that turned out well, that did. Yeah, it was amazing. Although the ginger killed the barley element, it was just a very strong ginger beer, really. But it was cracking, yeah. It put hairs on your chest. Proper hairs on your chest beer. Time's the killer, isn't it? Yeah, time's the killer. This is only since my wife bought me the kit, it's only the second time. This is the second time I've used it, and it's time, it's cost of electricity and effort. Because let's be fair, you get a good kit, you haven't got to fuck about half the time. You just put different hops in. You use different hops to get where you need to get for flavour and that. For ABV, you use sugar, malt extracts, treacle, and all the other things. So, 8 minutes. Yeah, 8 minutes. Oof. Here we go. This is where I start. It's the sparge element where I had some interesting times with last time I did it. I think I did it outside in the end because it was an absolute twat trying to pull that bag up. But I ain't got the thing to go outside and I've got such a bad neck as well. So, yeah, 7 minutes. Woof. Heat sparge water for sparge temperature 76. Oh, so sparge it and then heat the sparge. Mash at 65. This is where it gets confusing for me. Because mash at 65 for 60 minutes, fair dues. Heat sparge water for a sparge temperature of 76 degrees. Once your mash is complete, drain water and sparge to obtain your pre-boil volume. But it doesn't say about what the temperature is to boil. Boil for 60 minutes. I suppose you boil. Do you boil at 76 degrees? Or do you boil at 100 degrees? That's a bit confusing. Oh. Okay. What's the temperature to boil a grain brew? 212. That can't be right. So, 5 minutes. And then, yeah, it must be 76 degrees to boil. Yeah, okay now. Here we go. This could be interesting. 100. Thank you, Andy. This is why, you know, doing it live. Not only I thought 100 would be the right temperature, to be fair. But so I've got to put 76 and then okay now. So confusing. But boiler's 100. Cheers. And you know, if it's not on the instructions, 100 is usually mine. Good evening, JD. I'll be glad to get the sparge element out of the way because it's a pain in the arse. But smelling lovely anyway. That's the one thing. And it'll warm the room up at 100 degrees. The first time I did it, I put the lid on, not tight, but I put the lid on, and then posted a thing on the internet. Someone says, "Get that bloody lid off." And did I realise? No. And these things you don't know unless you've done it. You don't know, especially on this sort of kit. I suppose in a brewery, all very different. And I suppose down to every kit you use, it's different. Just boil for an hour. All the sugars are already in the water after mashing. Rightio. 105 is usually your aim. Wow. Joys are waiting for the temperature to rise. This is pretty good, to be fair. He says. Oh, but it's a ball ache. You can see why. I've talked to people who've gone to Grain Brewing and then they've gone back to doing kits because it's so fucking long. And they just play around with the kits. You know, there's some great kits on the market. Got to be honest. For cheapness, Muntons, Taproom, Coffee Porter. I mean, I've got it here. Got a bad neck. I've been bending over all day, bloody weeding. Same kit as I have, to be fair. Yeah, it's the Pico with the digital reading. Luke John, good evening. In the beer garden, hot weather and cold beer in North Yorkshire. I'll tell you what, it's lovely today in the sun. Be careful of boil over when getting their temperature. Right here. So yeah, this coffee porter. I got it for 12 quid. It's normally 15 quid. But I'll tell you what, 5%. I didn't play around with it. I can do in the future, I suppose. But look how solid that is. Absolutely rock solid. Oh, you bastard. Neck. Absolutely rock solid. And whoa, it's that rock solid. It won't stay on the side now. But for the price of the kit, stunning. So we're 2 minutes away. 2 minutes away. It's amazing how all these temperatures and times make such a difference, isn't it? You won't think it'd make that difference, would you? You know, does it really matter if it's 10 minutes? If it was 13 minutes, would it really matter? Be careful of hot break too. That's when it could boil over. Rightio. Right, 1 minute. We're nearly there. I've got my sparge waters ready. I've got me the doodah out of the oven. And yeah, it is clean. Yeah, it's clean. And right. Here we go. 1 minute. Don't know if you've used the Pico before, but the temperature fluctuations can be annoying. I have to have a few off and ons on the internet before it levels out. Last time I did it, it was okay. But yeah, it will be interesting. It does seem to go up a little bit and down a little bit, doesn't it? It's like, well, come on, what's the temperature? Right. Here we go. So I'll give it another quick stir. Do I have to say I'm good at stirring? So Yeah. I mean, it smells amazing. That porridge, you know, that look of porridge. There we go. Right. So put that down there out of the way. Oh. Right. So there we go. Watch myself, make myself look a cunt on camera. If you've watched my beer reviews, it's not hard. Oh no! Oh no! 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 Jesus, that was off. That was bigger than you fucking think. Jesus Christ! Oh, fucking hell! That's heavy as fuck. That is. Oh, fucking hell! Now I forgot how heavy that was. Bloody hell! This is where brewers earn their muscles. I've got a bad neck and all, so weight doesn't bother me, but even that took me by surprise then. Right, there we go. So the thing is with me, when it's, I kind of wonder what does the sparge bit do when it's been in the mash for an hour? Unless it really leaches out the last bits of, you know, the sugars. That's what it's supposed to do. Now, I don't know if I'm doing this right or not, but now, obviously, if people are watching this and say, oh, you're not doing that right, then obviously commenting and saying you're not doing it is a good thing, because it's what I did before. I ate this step. Yeah, I don't know. It's not helping that I've got a right bad neck and all. So there we go. I mean, I've done the Wraggy's, at Lincoln Green Brewing, I've done the Wraggy's beer, and obviously that's pouring the stuff in and watching the sparge process and cleaning it out and that. Right. Rinses the rest of the sugar out. I tend to skip sparge and instead put the bag in a bowl and add the liquid no later than 10 minutes before the end. Sparge isn't really necessary. The bag brew in the bag brews. Oh, that's interesting. So while it's boiling at the end, you put the bag in just to get the rest off. Is that what you mean? I can see why Imperial Stouts looks okay. That's sparge. Fucking hell. Oh. I was trying to squeeze it all out. 20 litres is not what I wanted to get to. Oh. Start squeezing the cow's bollocks to get the fucking last bit of milk out.
What are you saying? Right. You've got 2 things
Sparge it till you get to the boil volume, or you'll lose 2 to 3 litres in the boil. Right.
I've got 2 things going.
So I'm doing a live beer thing. So go away.
Why am I not live in, man?
Go away.
Well, I need to get a drink. That's what I came in for.
Go on then.
What is this? So many things though. Wait, you even do this one? What is that? Fridge that?
Yeah, you can't be having the kids in there. So with the sparge, when you say about the sparge then, run some more water through until it goes up to, say, 25 litres or something. Is that what you mean? Yeah. This is something I didn't do when I did the Citra Pale Ale. And I ended up with about 20, something like 20 litres in the end. And obviously, yeah, like you say, you're going to lose some in the boil, aren't you? I think that's why I kept the lid on. So the water, so the water didn't. Just to get your volume back to the right levels. Right, yeah, right, I'll put some more in then. Oh God, my back, my blooming neck wrong. So it looks like I'm on about, it's dripping down on there now, twatties. I'm on about 20 something, 22. So I'm gonna have to put a bit of cold in. So at least people watching this in the future can, and it's great to have help as well, because if you watch a video and then other people are correcting what you're doing, you know, it's all good help. Then when you do it yourself, you take in what other people have said, and hopefully, you know, you'll do much better than what I'm doing. Right. Let me get it up to 25, I think. Yeah, that's what I didn't do on the Citra Pale Ale. I didn't add extra water. I didn't know if you could. I didn't know if you could, to be honest. Oh, it's a fucking messy affair. I know that. Wife's going to be well impressed later. Let me put it there, and at least it's going through the middle. Ale. Oh, I'm having a nightmare. What can you stay in the middle, you twat? See why doing it on camera is all fun, can't you? Oh, get that in there. Jesus Christ. What a palaver. Squeeze this last bit. That's squeezing a fucking tea bag. Oh, cow feels now. Get the bollock, get this fucking milk squeezed out of it. Up me fire. Come on, you fucker. Squeeze. Tell you what, hot as fuck as well when you're squeezing it. I will look round at the comments in a minute when I squeeze the shit out of this bastard. Oh, God. You hot bastard. Right, what we on there? About 24 litres, that's good enough for me, fuck it. Right, where's my thing? Good evening, Thomas. Start the boil while sparging, saves time. Yeah, I should have done that, but I'm just going to get this out of the way first because it's a right blooming fuck it off in the garden, that road. Right, there we go. Right, get this out. Back in a sec. Oh my, get it on. Right way, you. Cheers. Well, we'll see how it cooks. I will do. I won't put all 25 litres in, to be fair. So I think it's P, and then it's so 100. Yeah. Wow. Right. So there we go. So I've got to get it to brewing first and go from there, enter. Yeah, once boiling temperature, set your timer for 60 minutes. God, I need a drink. Oh. I should have started the boiler while sparking, to be fair. It all saves time, doesn't it? I mean, that's why when I filled it up, and I'll take a picture now. I won't move the camera because every time I move that camera, we have issues. I was doing a live the other time and I moved the camera and it turned it off. So here we go. So that's what the beer is looking like at the moment. For those of you who are much better brewers than what I am. Yeah. I mean, as you can see, we're on about 24 litres. I probably would have had a bit more if I hadn't lost some down the back. I've got some bloody cleaning up to do later. Wife's going to be well impressed. So, just got to wait for it to get to 100. What I will do is stick the lid on. Because with the lid on, obviously it's going to heat up a bit quicker. Well, at the moment it's going down the ways. Yeah, could be here a while. 78.1. Oh, we're going up. Right. 8.2. Yeah. Oh dear. Anyway, time for a bit. Hope everyone's okay. So for those watching, get a spoon ready to break the surface as it will grow before it breaks. It's got a nice look to it as it's starting. I'll keep my beadies on it. Right, 78.7. So this was what always figured me, but you know, with the cost of doing this, obviously if you do a kit, you pay for the kit, 20 minutes, 2 or 3 kettlefuls, jobs are good and 79. So at least it's going up. So this is my Munton's coffee porter. Like I said, £15 kit. I only paid 12 quid for the kit, to be fair. It makes a nice beer for the price. There we go. I mean, look at that. Lovely beer for the price. So 1 hour 29 already on the clock. So for those looking at this in the future and you know, I'm no expert. I've done a lot of home brewing over the years. You know, I've brewed literally 130, 140 times probably over the years, 17 years, mind you. Second ever grain brew. So, yeah, just keeping my eye on that lid. Second ever grain brew. And it's interesting, you know, I know a lot of people who've gone into grain brewing who now are going commercial and they absolutely love what they do. And it's all about, if you're good at what you do and get your time in perfect and do all that, it's an amazing hobby that can turn into a job. For me, I've never wanted to be a job, but I would want it. If ever I won the lottery, you know, like most people, touch wood, one bloody day. And I'd like to go that way with it. For me, though, mostly I'll probably just stick to the home brew because it's easier. And, you know, I'm on a super strict budget. So this is an indulgence for the wedding. And next Monday, I'm doing the sticky toffee pudding. And that is a bit more complex. This is quite an easy brew in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, there's the basics that you've got to get right. And that bloody sparge process, which is an absolute barrel of laughs. You could do with something really that's set up like a bowl with like a drain thing, but a sealed bowl that you pour the water in, and then you have a lid that you put on top. You put a wind-up jobby on and do that, and it squeezes it through. That'd be amazing. Good afternoon or good evening, Mr. Darren, Urban Chicken Ale, mate. How are you? Does it bore the shit out of you waiting? What do you do while you're waiting between the elements? Obviously, you've got the commercial gear, but you know, in between, I mean, I'm waiting now for it to get to boiling temperature. It's looking nice. It's Lenton Lane's chocolate mild, and this will be at the hopefully this will be at the wedding vows. So that's what it looks like about before I started to boil it. So God, it takes some time. Jesus me. And Dewdrop at Ilkeston. What a pub. Lovely. Drinking the old Monton's tap room coffee porter at the moment. Get cleaning, get your hops weighed out. Yeah. So, you know, adding your hops, obviously we're talking to, if for those who don't know, for those who watch this in the future, Mr. Urban Chicken Ale, his name is Davin. One of the top up and coming craft breweries across the country. Don't get me wrong. And yeah, it's a cracking place. And does adding the hops at different times in the brew make such a difference? You know, for me, I'd just chuck the lot in all together. But does it bring out certain flavours in the hops by adding it at a certain time? And so on another brew, changing it by 5 minutes either way changes the aspects. It's interesting, you know. It's I suppose it's a bit like the wife of cakes. You know, she adds things at a certain time in the cakes. I'm doing this week because I'm doing the sticky toffee pudding imperial stout next week. Doing it live so that people can laugh at my bloody crapness. Early hops will give you the bitterness. So yeah, on the hop side of things, once it gets to boil, after 30 minutes, East Kent Goldings, later ones, and it will give you flavour and aroma. So yeah, 10 grams of East Kent Goldings. 20 minutes after that, 10 minutes after that, so literally 40 minutes in. East Kent Goldings again, 50 grams. And the last one at the end, Chinook, 5 minutes at the end of the boil. Yeah, Chinook, and that's how many grams? 20 grams. So just got to wait for it to get to bloody boiling temperature now. What a pain in the backside. So yeah, I'm brewing Lenton Lane. Might have to invite Jack and say, hey Jack, is this good? But what I am doing, I'm not adding sugar, so I'm being good on the sugar element, but I'm adding a cookie dough essence to the brew in secondary fermentation. So by the time it's barreled and it comes out of the barrel, there'll be a nice, hopefully, cookie dough, slight cookie dough chocolatey flavouring to add to the chocolate. Sorry, cookie dough to add to the chocolate. That's the Oatsman aspirations. Although I haven't even got to 100 bloody degrees yet. But keep the lid on for now. So yeah, went to Hot Writing the other day as well, and they had the day is my enemy on the bar, 6.7%. Obviously, you know that anyway. And Static Calm was coming on, and lovely little micro pub. What's called the Crooked something or other. So I was told. But yeah, great to see a new micro pub, especially in these tough times. Tough times for a lot of breweries, but yeah, good to see more micro pubs opening. And it was busy when we were in there. I mean, I only had 2 halves. I was driving, so I couldn't have any more than 2 halves. And yeah, oh, Crooked Cask. So yeah, I ain't got posh equipment. I've got a Pico, so but it does the job. In a respect, at least. One day, you never know. We'll win the lottery, open up a Wraggy tap room. Yeah, I'll never be sober. Yeah, that's the problem. And the wife knows this as well. Yeah. Yeah. The beer reviews every single 20 beer reviews a day. Yeah. Yeah. Which would get me into a lot of trouble. So probably a good thing. But one, I haven't won the lottery, and two, that I don't own my own tap room. Yeah, probably a good thing that I am actually a gardener. Set it to 102 so it reaches the boil. So press P. That's it. Press P again. Yeah. Oh, thank you. And this is what I love, you know. It's YouTube is a great resource because there's people out there who watch the real experts and they think, fucking hell, I don't understand half of that. And then they watch a clown like me and they look at what I'm doing wrong, because sometimes isn't it not the best way in life to do something wrong? So you learn anyway. I mean, the first one I did, I'm getting information coming in, and I didn't do this live on the first Grain Brew. And as I was doing it, I'm getting people firing stuff at me. And it was good. It helped me out because it's 91%, 91. It helped me understand and that. But the problem is that was last July. Well, yeah, last July, August time. And obviously it's been a long time since then. Hence, you know, so doing it again, it's like basically starting afresh again. There's little things I remembered, but not all of it by a long shot. And obviously, once that gets to 92, God, bloody hell. It's like waiting for buses to come in. Yeah. Oh. Don't know when you've got a bad neck or not, because keep looking up. Yeah, yeah. You know, this is what the internet's about. If you don't ever do anything wrong, then you don't know if someone watching this from beginning to end will look and think, wow, okay, so I'll change what I do there. I'll do something different. I mean, that is a great bit of kit. I think it was less than 100 quid. It's plastic. It's got the digital doodah down there. So it's a lot cheaper way of doing grain brewing than, you know, than buying the proper gear. I mean, the proper gear is obviously better. 93. You know, it's like waiting for the Titanic to come in. Another beer then, I think. I'm definitely brewing that again. The coffee in that is absolutely lovely. It delivers a lovely cask, 5% beer for 15 quid. Price of one bag of sugar, 16 quid. So 16 quid, I think it was 35 pints. Literally 30 odd pence a pint. Or is it 40? 40 in it. About 40 pence a pint. 40 times, yeah, 46 pence then. Yeah, I'll get there in the end. 94. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So I've now got, once it reaches, I've then by system and boil off rate. Once boiling temperature, set your timer for 60 minutes, which I'll do an alarm for. Easier that way. So I've got another one of these to do, and then I'll probably do a grain brew later in the year once I get past my thing. But I'll probably do a couple of kits beforehand. I'm tempted to do some more of those Muntons taproom kits. I don't know if anybody's seen them, but like I said, the coffee porter for the price, absolutely spot on. There's a watermelon sour, and again, if the coffee one turned out so easy to do, then the watermelon's very interesting as well. I'm not sure what other kits they do, but I will find out while I'm waiting. So yeah, that's looking fine. Muntons tap room kits. Tap room servers, here we go. So this is interesting then. So yeah, coffee porter, lemon rattler. Not sure I want a bloody lemon rattler. Watermelon sour. So what's the ABV? 5%. I'm good for the 5%. What's the rattler? I can see that being 2.5%. Yeah, 3%. Do I really want to brew a 3% beer? Maybe. If I get a barrel, I may do a 3% for the wedding for people who don't drink a lot. Yeah. Certainly not for me. I don't want to be drinking that bloody 3% shite. So just got to wait for it to get to 100 then. Take the lid off. Got a lovely, it's getting darker now, but the beer is. I'll show you a photo. For those that are still around or fell asleep waiting, so it's a long process, isn't it? It really is. At least it gives you that chance to see. Right. So, without me taking the, oh, you miserable bleeder. There you go. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. I'm not sure what them white marks are in there, but I'm sure it's gone darker. Certainly looks like it's gone darker since the initial turning the brew on to go to the boil stage. Oh, fucking hell, it's a weight, isn't it? Jesus, mother of God. Hey. So what the breweries do, they have ding dings in the brewery that telling us we reached 100. You'd need something, wouldn't you? Hey? Like a little alarm that says it's at 200, right? 60 minutes, job's good. $97. We're going there. We're going there. I'll take the lid off when it gets to 100. Bloody hell. I think this is one of the reasons why I love the idea of doing grain brewing, but the process of waiting around like an absolute muppet while it does it is you know, and because of the cost of malt these days, grain brewing is a bit more expensive than it used to be. I'm sure Mr. Urban Chickenero will know this. 40% malt, the price of malt's gone up. So unless you're charging more for your beer, then the profit margin goes down. I can understand these. You've been to these micro pubs where they have a room. They don't have it on. They don't have cask on the bar anymore, but they have a room with the barrels there, and it's tipped. You've got, it's been tapped and vented and all that bollocks, and they're pouring straight from the barrel. Why? Because whatever is in the barrel, you're getting nearly 98% of the barrel is going straight into the pint, so you're making money. You should do a separate outtakes video. As far I need stitches. The language of squeezing the grains is hilarious. It's a proper Wraggy video. Yeah. If you ever get the chance, there are some reviews on my channel. There's one Ninkasi, wild beer. If you tap in Ninkasi, Ninkasi, and Wraggy beer, Wraggy review, Ninkasi Wraggy review, you'll see a review. It was a live review. Ninkasi is a farmhouse beer, and you'll piss yourself at that. It's 45 minutes of me ranting, and when I look back, it's like, oh god. And hey, we're getting nice. It's coming up now. Yeah, it's coming home. That's what she says. Right, let me get a different spoon for the occasion. Of course, 99. Hey, we're nearly there. Oh, thank God. It is 6:47, which means an hour from now. And then I've got to cool the bloody thing down. That takes about 20 minutes last time I tried. I've got the old wort cooler here. And so that's good. It's all learning, isn't it? And relearning. Because if you don't do it regular enough, you're having to relearn. But the hints are great because I'm learning. And if I'm learning, then people who watch this channel and watch this video will think, God, yeah, I need I'm not doing it the way he does it. It's crap. But yeah, there we go. So I'll just feed that across. Right, it's at 100. So just leave that on for a minute and then set up some alarms. So I've got alarms. So I need an alarm in 30 minutes. Set me an alarm for 30 minutes.
Done. Your alarm set for 7:19 p.m.
This is where Google is brilliant. Set me an alarm for 50 minutes.
Done. Your alarm set for 7:39 p.m.
Set me an alarm for 55 minutes.
All right. Your alarm set for 7:44 p.m.
So if those alarms go off as they should do, God, I hope so. Here we go. Yeah. Open alarms. Let's have a look at the alarms. Yeah, so I've got one at 7:19, 7:39 and 7:44. So when the alarms come, we're laughing. Right, let's get that lid off now. And I'll show you how it's progressing. So for the people that are watching, if you haven't already died of boredom. So there we go. And there we go. It's bubbling away. And so now I've got to wait till 7:19. So yeah, I've got a little bit of a wait. Doesn't say out about stirring it. So you think so, wouldn't you? But it actually says 30 minutes from end of boil. So basically, near on 30 minutes. There's the instructions there. So can you see just about there? It's saying from the first 30 minutes in, first ops, and then 10 minutes before the end, second, and 5 minutes, the third. So obviously that's the way they've done it on this brew. Right. So there you go. How not to brew with Wraggy. Yeah. And to think that's 5%, and that took me 20 minutes to brew. Less bitter. Yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I want to stick to how it is because this is a local brewery to me, Lenton Lane. So it'd be interesting to see how it comes out. And although I am going to add some cookie dough essence, like I said earlier, so yeah, it should be interesting. And wow, it's a long slog into doing this brewing. I've been kneeling down all day, so so it's nice to actually be standing up. Although my neck's killing me. So now the first time I did the brew, I put the lid on and left the bloody lid on. Not closed down, but I left the lid on to stop it going too cold. Now I would have thought that would be a good thing to do, really, because it stops all the heat going out and a lot of the moisture going out. So what do you think about that? For those watching and for those who do grain brewing, would you keep the lid on so that a lot of the moisture that's going up actually stays in and drops back in? It's interesting, it's interesting to hear opinions on what you would and what you wouldn't do. I know in a brewery they actually keep the lid on, but obviously it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it? I mean, I kind of want to keep the lid on because I don't want all the water in the atmosphere. But obviously, yeah, it's a strange one, that is. It's keeping the 101, so that's a good thing. Jesus, I realise that I grey my hair is so you look at the back of your head. When you see it on camera. So first ops are East Kent Goldings. There we go. So only 10 grams, mind you. So yeah, that'll be interesting when it goes in. And this is a 23 litre brew. The time that's gone, that'll be about 23 litres anyway. It removes sulfates. So letting some of it go up. Here we go. Proper bubbling away now. To be fair, lovely brown colour on it. Yeah, so on the last brew I did, the timing of adding the hops was all different, Tad. I'm used to adding hops on a normal brew, a beer kit brew. Anything from 4 days into the brew, So sometimes on the last day, in fact, the brew I've got upstairs, I've got another brew upstairs. I've not added the ops yet because it's not fermented enough. But yeah, with that, you know, you always seem to add the hops near the end, where on a grain brew, you're adding the hops in the boil. It's so different to what beer kits are like. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? You know, it's this thing I've been a beer kit brewer since, God, at least 2005, maybe before that. Most of my kit is that old, you know. It's certainly don't owe me anything. Whereas this was bought by the wife last year for my birthday, so last June. I did my first grain brewing in July, and I've not touched it since. This is only the second time that I've actually used it, and doing well. It's keeping that well. I'm conscious that it's not losing too much of the water, but obviously losing what it needs to lose. Don't want to make the kitchen too wet. Beer kits have already been hopped when they make them. Right, yeah. And you see, this is the interesting thing. You think you know something, then you don't really. I mean, to be fair, today's beer kits are amazing. When you think about the old beer kits, like your Geordie and some of the Cooper's beer kits, the beer it's not great. And then this is that Munton's kit. Poured it like 15 minutes ago now, something daft like that. It's still retaining its head. It's a lovely beer for the price. And you look at some of the older kits and they really show their age. St. Peter's, the St. Peter's Plum Porter that I got before Christmas, I actually won that. You know, that kit, when I thought that they might add an essence of plum at the end. No, the plum was already in the malt. So you cracked open the tin. Oh, you could smell it. You could smell plum already in the malt extract. I mean, let's be fair. Grain Brewing is the if you're serious about brewing some amazing beers, Grain Brewing is the way because you've got the ability to brew beers that you can't get in kits. You know, clones of beers, all sorts of different beers that you just can't get in kits. So in that way, grain brewing is certainly interesting. But I think it's always best to learn how to do it first before you get too far in. And not only that, get to a stage where the cost of electricity goes down a bit more. And it's not so silly. So it's a lovely chocolatey, it looks like liquid chocolate now on the boil. I've still got 21 bleeding minutes before the 21 minutes before I can have the first hops. Grain Brewing is my next move. Just need to cut down on work. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, I do 40 hours a week, but I also do the odd Saturday. And as I go into summer, that will get more prevalent, you know, the more Saturday working. 2 days a week, I work extra hours at work on the garden next door at Newark. All gives a few pennies to go out and have a beer at the weekend. Yeah, gonna get a nice bit. That's why there's so many cask beer reviews on my channel now, and they aren't just to squeeze out more beer reviews. It's because I'm at the pub anyway. These beers are relevant because they're in the pubs at the moment I'm posting them, and it's like let's put them beers out there. And if anybody else thinks, oh, that sounded that, get yourself down to the pub, and it's a way of giving back to the beer industry. 21 bloody minutes. Is it 19 minutes? Something like that. 7:19. So yeah, 19 minutes to go for my first hops. Now, what I should have done is found, I've got this thing from Aldi, like a veg, what they use for the veg, and chuck the hops into that. I can't find it for the life of me. Put it down somewhere. So these will fall to the bottom at some stage. Definitely, yeah. And to brew your own beer for your wedding, you know, it's a nice thing to do. I mean, obviously upstairs I've got a beer kit that I've done, and I'm going to do at least 4 or 5 of my own beers. And so, yeah, it's a cheap night out for those that arrive, because those that come, apart from getting there and getting a bloody hotel room, which is not cheap, the actual night itself will be a good laugh and a good bit of boozing. Oh, 18 minutes to go still. Good evening, Mr. Shark. How are we? Comments are coming on my laptop before they're coming up there, funnily enough. So I'm brewing chocolate mild, 5.4%. We're at the boiling process. We are now about 10 minutes into the boiling process. I've got at different times, I've got to add East Kent Goldings, 2 different lots of East Kent Goldings, and then Chinook. And then I've got the yeast, obviously that'll be added later because it can cool down before I add that. I've got some Safe Ale SS04 yeast. So that's the yeast I've got. I've never heard of it either. Been experimenting with Perfect Draft Machine, refilling kegs with homebrew. Now, for my wedding vows, we're buying mini kegs, and I'm hoping to clean the mini kegs out, refill the mini kegs, and again use it for homebrew. Refill, sterilize it, fill it, and go there. Yeah, Shark. So the beer itself, it's a 5.4%. What it is, local to Nottingham and in the UK, there's a company called Brewday Supplies, and they've been collaborating with local breweries and breweries all around to make grain kits. So this is a collaboration with Lenton Lane, this one here, and it's a 5.4% chocolate mild. Good IPA this Saturday, should be 6.8% ABV. Ooh, nice. Yeah, and don't go off. I'm hoping I'm gonna, when it's brewed and fermented, secondary fermentation, I'm adding a cookie dough essence to make a cookie dough chocolate mild. Yeah, well, that's the hopes anyway. Whether it works out, there's nothing. So it's absolutely bubbling lovely in there at the moment. I mean, I'm tempted to do a triple IPA at some stage, and obviously not from grain. I'm not messing about with grain, but I'll get a beer kit and I'll add either sugar or dextrose or whatever, light malt, and then I'll have different hops and use that way to do it. Yeah, the company Brewday, with all grain, they have collaborated with about, I'd say about 15 different breweries in the UK. And there's some absolutely belting, I mean, obviously you're not in the UK, but there's some belting grain kits out there. So, and these are beers. This is a commercially available beer. So you're brewing, attempting to brew a commercial available beer, which is, when the bottle of beer is costing £2 or £3 a bottle these days, to brew it to brew like 40 odd bottles for the price of bar electric, bar the price of electric for brewing the bugger. For say 24, 25 quid. It's, you know, it's decent. But it's for me wedding vows, so it's good for that. Side by side review of the beers. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Might have to have a word with the brewer. I know the brewer. Have a word with him and take a bottle of the beer down to him before I had the cookie dough essence. Secondary fermentation. Actually bottle a couple of beers up separately. Take it down to him and say, "Is that anywhere near what you would do?" Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, go down to the brewer himself and yeah, he's probably watching, thinking he's fucking doing that wrong. But although it might not be, no. Most of these brewers are up at 5 in the morning, so I would have thought I'd be in bed by this time of night. So 13 minutes for the first load of hops. So I'm glad to get to this process. It is a process, isn't it? You know, the whole from sterilising your kit to the mashing to the sparging to the boiling to the bloody hop adding, and then to drop the temperature down. I mean, I've got the wort cooler here, so thank God I have, because it'll take an age for the temperature to drop. It does drop it really nicely quick, to be fair. So that's a good thing. It's just so boring waiting. Yeah, especially if you were to brew it again. Yeah. I'm looking at, once the price of electric comes down in the UK, 2 hours and 7 minutes. Wow. Once the price of electric, 2 to 3 hours. Right. So we've already been, what is it now? 2 hours, 7 minutes. And I already pre-filled it with hot water. So, and that's from my tank, depending on if you can do that from your tank. If you've got to heat the water up, if you've got an old immersion tank, then I wouldn't put the water into your immersion tank. Mine's one of these brand new boilers where the mains water goes into the boiler, comes down the pipe, and then straight in. So you know you're not getting anything. You don't know what's in your tank, so you've got to be careful on that. But for me, because it's all coming through the pipes, our pipes are super used all the time. I wash in the pots beforehand, so after 5 minutes, it gets rid of the impurities. All these things are something you've got to take into consideration. And I'm no expert, but I know that because spoke to health and safety people in the UK, and they're a bit pedantic when it comes to bloody water. Yeah, I'm not allowed to use a sprinkler on a certain site because it says you've got it. Can you please run the water for 20 minutes first before you put it on the sprinkler? And to be honest, don't put it on the sprinkler. You water it by hand. And we're like, we haven't got the fucking time to stand there watering the bloody grass by hand. I have to heat up my water, yeah, and that all adds time. For a grain brew, I reckon you're looking at about 5 hours. I mean, I'm 2 hours 8 minutes in. I've literally got another half an hour, and then I've got to cool the wort down using this. Then I can add the yeast, but then I've got to transfer it as well into another fermentation vessel. So I'll probably, once I've cooled it down, I'll probably knock off the video so that people understand there are more processes involved. Do it in the morning, yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning when nobody's going in the kitchen. See, my family will want to use the kitchen soon, so I've only got till about 8 o'clock. Yeah, 5 hours. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, when you look at something from homebrew, from kit, takes literally anything between 20 and 40 minutes, and you're not boiling, you're not using a hell of a lot of electricity to do it. You can see why a lot of people get into grain brewing and they backtrack back into kits, but they use kits and play around with kits, and it is interesting on that. Yeah, once a month. Yeah, yeah. I mean, my wife bought me the kit, so I need to get me off my backside and use the kit. And I think once a month to mess about is okay. 5 hours once a month. I mean, but this obviously this commercial breweries daily. There's a commercial brewer in Bridlington who's making a Wraggy beer, and he's doing a double brew every day. So smaller kit. It's only a 50-litre kit, I think. It's not a massive kit, but still, a double brew every day. Wow. But obviously, if you're brewing one, you can do two. You can do two at a time. You might as well, because you can keep your eye on both. If you set them up at different things, you can make sure that you're doing the processes at different things. Create recipes derived from kits. If they sound good, fair play, mate. Fair play. Yeah, there are some beers in the UK that you can't get anymore, or that you can get, but they're a bit dear. So to do the kit, to do the beer from a kit, would be an amazing thing to do if you can do it. If there's a clone out there for it. I mean, it's got a lovely thickness now. The chocolate is really looking good. I've still got 8 minutes to go. 8 bloody minutes. But in some ways, I wanted to do it live just to show people the processes involved. And it's either one of those where you think, yeah, I fancy doing it that way, or fuck that, I'm not spending all that time messing about. And the kit you need. See, this is a Pico with a digital display. You can get an analog display. Digital's best, more expensive, better. Like I said, if you've got a good hot water system, you can use the hot water to fill it initially, and then you do your heating and all that. I've got a wort chiller, this springy thing here, and that's for cooling it down so you can get it to fermentation. So it is interesting. Yeah, I've made some amazing beers from kits. I've made an amazing imperial stouts from kits. I did a cookies and cream imperial stout that was absolutely off the charts amazing. And I wish the wife had some of the essence, because I'd love to do another one. But do 40 pints of it this time and just drink it myself. And sod giving any out, just neck 40 pints. I think it turned out to about 12% as well, so it's absolutely amazing. One thing, it's lovely and warm in the kitchen at the moment with that bursting out. So I was told not to have the lid on, to let all that heat out, but I'm also conscious about the moisture in this room, and also conscious about the amount I'm going to lose. So I've kept the lid on halfway, so that obviously it still does its thing, but it's not too much. I use the Beersmith app. Has loads of recipes for all grain beers. Because there's beers over the years that have disappeared from the shelves. And yeah, Beersmith. Ooh. A white labs yeast with a strong IPA. Yeah, I've got that double chocolate stout upstairs, and I think I need to go and get a stronger yeast. Yes, you don't cover the boilers. The bad stuff, steam is boiling off. Good evening, Craig. How are you, matey? It's been a while. So, as soon as I add the hops, I'm going to take that lid off properly then. And yeah, so you see my my attempt at doing a grain brew. And is it not for any beer person, brewing your own beer is part of the journey, isn't it? I mean, if we are reviewing people's beers, to brew your own beer and to slag your own beer off, or dissect what you're doing, is a good thing. Right, 4 minutes. Quick tiddle and carry on. Oh, I did say a quick tiddle. So, literally 3 minutes away from the next. They're starting to add the ops. Finally getting some bloody interesting stuff going. Starting to review your own beer now. Yeah, it's got to be done, hasn't it? You know, and dissecting your own beer. Piss stop. Yeah, you need a piss stop, don't you? Luckily, the toilet's next door. Yeah. Yeah. No bollockings off the wife for doing sneaky weebies, as it were. So, let me take that off. Careful not to burn myself as I do it. And I'll show you a picture of the brew now, just to show you how it's going. That was the brew at the very start of the boiling process. It looks different now. So let's take a picture. I'll order if the phone. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's a steamy picture, but it's a picture. I don't know if you can actually see it on there. Let me get another picture because you can't see shit on there. Got a bit too close to the screen. Right, there we go. And there we go. That's a better picture. Yeah, there we go. So that's what it's looking like now. It's bubbling away. It's getting to be an expensive hobby. New shiny toys to outbrew. Yeah. I've seen some of the stuff that's coming out and some of the automated stuff, but again, you know, it's so 1 minute away, so we're nearly there. So the alarm should go off. I've set my alarm to go off at the intervals it needs to. First hops that are going in. Hop 1 is EKG, East Kent Goldings, 10 grams. And as you can see, you've got the Brewday, Lenton Lane Chocolate Mild, all labelled up. So even a fool, you'd think, can do this sort of thing. Right. So that alarm, good to set your alarms. So next alarm's going off in 20 minutes. So here we go. Not a massively hoppy beer, to be fair. Yeah, if you've got the money to spend, it's a fantastic hobby, isn't it? You know, I know people that I've spoke to that have gone into the world of doing own grain brewing, and then opened up their own little commercial brewery, got a little tap room. They don't need the money. That to me is the thing. If you've got money to burn, you don't need the money to create an income. So at first, for the first year, you may lose a bit, but once you start brewing your own beer, getting the right beers in from certain breweries, have an ever-changing list of beers on cask or keg even, and a craft beer fridge, you can build a really interesting business. None of the tap room, none of the little micro pubs that I know of are suffering at all. It's the pubs with shit beer in that are suffering. Yeah, I mean, kit wise, I'm going on Thursday, Firelot Brewing over in Sutton in Ashfield. they only brew on a small kit. It's only about, you know, this sort of height, that sort of height. Is it SNS? I don't know the names. Or Braumeister, might be Braumeister, might be. They brew on that kit, and now they've got more. So they've increased the fermentation vessels because they don't need to increase the mash tun or the copper. So they've increased the amount of fermentation vessels they've got. And now they're brewing several times a week. And sometimes they have 12 keg lines, 3 cast lines, and like half the lines are their own. So they're making a good business, and they both work as well. So they both work, but they do it as a hobby for the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's their weekend hobby. And you know, they seem to be doing well out of it. And you know, if it's a hobby you really enjoy, then I personally think it's well worth going for. So 2 minutes in, it's smelling different to me. I can smell a bit of something on the nose. Yeah, and let's be fair, these are very dangerous times in the United Kingdom for any brewery, as we all know. That a lot of breweries are either through bad management or supposedly getting out at the right time. You know, don't think that all breweries that have died because they literally can't do any, you know, they can't go any further. Some because they want out anyway. You know, it's not all down to that. I enjoy the hobby until I have to clean everything. Yeah. Yeah, I've got to clean the bloody kitchen. Although I had to clean the kitchen before I came in tonight because the wife had left it a mess from her cakes. She does cakes, and then I've come home to do a brew. And like I said, it's only my second grain brew, so I'm going to rebrew again next week, and then I'll probably put the kit to bed for probably another 5 months until I do my third brew, unless I do a third brew. But I'll do a real hoppy brew again for my wedding vows. So, yeah. And as I was saying earlier, I haven't sorted out a bloody stag do yet night, probably at the end of May, and I haven't sent out all the invitations for the wedding. So, yeah, a little bit behind. Yeah. It's good to get into grain brewing because it gives you that ability to see how it is on the other side. I mean, I've done lots and lots of home brewing. I've played around with lots of kits, and it's for me it's an interesting hobby. You know, the cost of electricity at the moment does worry me. You know, but if I was doing it 3 or 4 times a week, then I'd really be worried. But once in a while, it was not too much of an issue. You'd be surprised, don't really drink that much beer, he says. I've actually calmed right down, to be fair. Yeah, I don't do spirits anymore, and I don't do wine anymore for obvious reasons. That you can, you know, dive into too much to both of those. So it's actually strange doing a live, but a homebrew live, really strange. And 2.5 hours in nearly now, so all good. Mainly do grain brews. Every once in a while, I do an extract recipe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, we've got some interesting grain brewing kits. And we've got, and Tad knows this, we've got a double IPA called Evil Dog. And if you take out the hops that come with it and use whatever hops you want to use, you can make a very different beer. As you know, with hops change the taste and aroma and the bitterness. Good evening, Mark. How are you? Like watching beer drop. I know, fucking hell. Yeah. So I'm doing a live because the first time I did this, I'm in the kitchen for nearly 5 hours and it bored me to tinder. I'm sitting there thinking, fucking hell, I've got to keep waiting. You keep looking at them thinking, does it really need an hour to boil? I mean, Jesus Christ, surely 20 minutes would be enough. And yes, the yeast. Local brewery to me, who made Wraggy's Golden Ale, Lincoln Grain Brewing, they did the same beer and they used Nottingham yeast on one side and London ale yeast free, or London ale yeast anyway. And the beer itself was massively different. And I do mean, and that's just the yeast, not even the bloody hops. That was the yeast that changed it. So it just goes to show you that unbelievable, you know, it's the yeast. You think it's the hops as well. I'm that bored, might crack a brew dog. And this is my way back into doing lives as well. This week and next week, and then back into probably doing some lives again and getting off my arse. The shed will be a bit warmer by then as well, so that'll be a good thing. So I've literally got, yeah, albeit a different live, still chatting and doing the usual raggy things, obviously. So I've got another 12 minutes before the next lot of hops go in. Okay, now. Looks like my shite from this morning, but don't tell anyone. I try to clean up my equipment while I'm waiting in between steps. Yeah, I haven't got that ability in here at the moment because it's only a very small kitchen. And all my stuff's in the sink and that. So yeah, I ain't got no chance at the moment. Although I have got a dishwasher. So anything I use is going in the bloody dishwasher afterwards. So all's good on that side of things. Oh. Craig, yeah, it's about time I got on the live, mate. I've been far too keeping away from the live side of things. Got a good yeast, you harvest it and use it a few times. Well, to be honest, I may scoop off the yeast off this. That I've got a brew upstairs and it's a bit slow at the moment. But what I might do is use the yeast from this, chuck it in that brew, and let it bloody do it, because I'm in no rush because I'm not drinking it until July anyway, so it can sit up there festering away as much as it likes, as long as it tastes nice in the end. That's all that matters. Reminds me of our dad in the 80s. What Woolworths homebrew kits? No, they did homebrew kits. Boots kits. I do remember the Boots kits. Luckily today's kits are pretty decent, to be fair. Let me just shut my laptop to turn the heating off. Cost of living crisis. Harry, turn the heating down to 17 for me, please. 17. Things you have to do, right? And I'm sure we all have this winter in the UK. I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, turning your flipping heating down because, you know, you used to never bother. You know, you're getting at 3 o'clock, woof that heating on. 9 o'clock, you think, oh, I'll turn the heating off now. Or you just set it on the timer. Nowadays, it gets to 7:30, it's like, get that heating turned off. Don't turn the heating on in the morning anymore. Sit there freezing your fucking bollocks off. Well, turn the heating off. I am brewing, for fuck's sakes. Oh, dear. Oh, so it's got a lovely smell to it. I've definitely lost some of the. If I was your kid, I'd answer "fuck off" and do it yourself. Yeah, he probably would actually. He's a lad. He's a lad himself. So I'm hoping to chat my mates up, the Drinkers Collective, and obviously we've done the Filey Bridlington area, we've done the Great Yarmouth area. In October we're doing Poole in Dorset, and next March we're doing Cleethorpes, fucking Cleethorpes. But Great Newsom Brewery is near Cleethorpes. Badger's Brewery is near Poole. But I'm hoping to get the wife to do and the crew to go somewhere near Kent, and then also somewhere near Cumbria, so that I'm near certain beer reviewers. But hey ho. So this is going to be, it's basically, it's called it's a chocolate mild. So it supposedly is going to turn out to be 5.4%, supposedly, if I've done everything right, obviously. On second fermentation, when it goes into the barrel, on the second fermentation, I am going to add a cookie dough essence to the. I'm going to take a couple of bottles out on secondary fermentation, so I'll add the sugar, bottle a couple in, so I can see what it tastes like after a week or two. But the rest of it's going into a sealed barrel with cookie dough essence, and it's going to be a cookie dough chocolate mild at 5.4%. And I've not played around with the ABV. That's the hopes. We'll see at the end. The gravity, not that I've got my hydrometer's upstairs, so I can't do it today. But the gravity should be 1.053 at the end. Yeah, I fucking hell. If I was gonna be Larry, I'd chuck a bag of sugar in and think fuck it, and bump that ABV up to about 7. But not everybody can handle the beer like I can. And can I handle the beer? Probably not. Craig knows that anyway. Yeah. Although I handled it better than Jagman the first time I went to the Nottingham Craft Beer Festival. That was a laugh, that was, because me and Jagman were pretty steaming. I was just a little bit less than Jagman. And then on day 2, I was actually pretty good, to be fair. I'm actually doing a double day this year. I'm doing both Nottingham Craft Beer Festival on Friday with the wife and the Happy Drinkers on the Saturday with the beer community. So, yeah, it should be good. We do a ferry ride to Rotterdam every year. Craft ale bars in Rotterdam, amazing. Try out the Phoenix factory. I won't be surprised if our good man Mr. Kent Beer Reviews has been there. Jagman is a laugh. Yeah. He's a bit of a womanizer. He likes it. He's good for the women. He's a good lad. And yeah, like most people, you go drinking. Oh, look at me. Yeah, I know. So yeah, I forgot where I was now. Hey, it will be. I'll open the window a little bit.
What?
I'll open the window a little bit.
Yeah, the room's all steamed up.
Yeah. So I'm literally 5 minutes away from the second hops. Looks like he belonged in the pet shop then, caps. You should have seen the hat he wore at the Craft Beer Festival with little lights on. Yeah, it was very popular that night at the Craft Beer Festival. So you're lying, by the way.
Oh God.
Yeah, this is Wraggy in the background. She's just come back from a run and exercise classes. So, all good. So 4 minutes to go. Second lot of hops to go in are again East Kent Goldings. Tell Jagman to drink his putty. Yeah, he bought a load of it, didn't he? Yeah, putty's all right, but it's like a lot of double IPAs. It's It's good, but there's a lot of good IPAs. Yeah, she won't show herself on camera.
You got no chance.
So 50 grams of East Kent Goldings. So I'll get it ready to drop in.
Conversation's even in the cupboards.
Is
You
it?
open that window, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've opened the window.
Yeah, it's even in the window. Yeah, look on the walls, Billy. The walls are wet.
Oof.
You might need to open the back door.
You should have kept that bloody lid on.
Yeah, inside the cupboards, and the cupboards are all wet and everything.
Put the lid on a bit. I think cover some of the condensation down. She's got it in there. Yeah, it's very condensated. So in future, probably a good thing to have some bloody doors and windows open. Nah, I'm not drunk. If I was drunk, I'd be in the doghouse. I'd be in the shit house then. You know, as it were. But yeah, that craft beer festival that year, Craig showed me. Wow, I've got some potent aroma on that now. Craig showed me he was the Obi-Wan. Right, lads, I'm off. Mad Pattendale Terrier needs a run. See you later, matey. Thanks for joining. So, absolutely freezing in there now. Two bloody window open, door open. Oh, fucking hell. Shut that door a little bit. Freezing. There's a limit. I'd rather be steamed up than bloody freezing. So that's that. Heater's working pretty decent, to be fair. 2 minutes away, then I can put this in. And then literally 5 minutes later, the last lot of hops, and then basically it's a case of cooling it down. So we're not overly far. I mean, once I start cooling it down, the yeast part I'll put in a separate video because the kids want to use the kitchen, so I can't do it on this video. But we'll keep on for a bit longer. I've got till probably about 8 o'clock-ish, 8:05. And this is a problem, you know, if you are grain brewing in your own house, you need basically what is a 5-hour window, especially if you're having to heat the water up from cold. Obviously I've used hot water, so that saved quite a bit of time. Heater's working, rest of the street's warmed up. Yeah, okay, no. Electric bill for today, 30 quid. Yeah. Don't you brew another fucking beer. One next week and that's it. And that's why setting your alarms is great. Set your alarm, chuck the next one in. He's chucked in. Right. 5 minutes. Third one. How cold is your water for cooling down? Freezing cold. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty decent. I use a cold water chiller thing, cold water, springy thing that you run the tap through. But yeah, it's pretty cold. Straight off the mains, so it is decent. And obviously in the UK, it's not very warm at the moment, still. I think the last time I did it, it took 10 or 15 minutes to cool it down. Cools it down pretty quick, actually. So, so I need to set an alarm for 5 minutes after I've done this, or just make sure I watch the clock for 5 minutes after I've done this. So, let's pour another beer. I just hope it turns out all right, because there's effort, you know. I mean, it's like I'm at 2.5 hours now, 2 hours 40 minutes now, and if this had been a beer kit, 20 minutes in, I'd have been bish bash bosh. Put the chiller in 10 minutes before the end, it sterilises it. Don't turn it on till then. Right, yeah. I have already pre-sterilised the chiller, to be fair. Do you add anything to the water? No, mate. No, my water's pretty decent in Nottingham. You are supposed to have a pH of, tells you somewhere, 5.3. Mash pH is recommended to be 5.3. I have no idea. I've actually got in the shed, for the hot tub, I've actually got some water things for the pH, so I could actually do that. Chiller goes into your water, chuck it in now to sterilise it. Yeah, I've actually pre-sterilised the chiller already, to be fair. I mean, I could chuck it in now, I suppose. Yeah, it's on the piss. Oh, I've not done that thing. No. Oh, hell, what's fell on the floor now? Jesus Christ. Yeah, get there. That's weird. When the water's slow when you start chilling it. Yeah, I will do. So, yeah. Have I knocked it off? No. No, it's still bubbling away. Yeah. Okay. So, literally a few minutes now, and add the last of the hops in. What are we on? 2 minutes to the next alarm, and then 5 minutes to go after that. And the only good thing is by having all the windows open, it's cooling it down quite quickly, and I'm freezing still here. Looks like a mad experiment for those who don't do home brew. Just done it. Everyone's thinking, I'm never touching grain brewing. Yeah, it's far too much hassle. Are you transferring the water to another bucket? Yeah, I'm going to put the water into another fermentation bucket. So I'll probably cool it down off camera because we're already 2 hours 43 minutes in, and I've got kids who want to get to their food. So I'll get to the end of the boil and then I'll do the cooling down off camera because yeah, I can hear it in the background. There we go. So last lot hops in. Right, 5 minutes to go. So it's been an interesting. It took at least 20 minutes to cool down. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it did last time. So I'll do that off camera because they want their dinner. I mean, the best time to do it actually is a Sunday morning, about 6 in the morning when everyone's fast asleep, because no one comes downstairs till about 11 o'clock anyway. And as long as the wife can have a cup of coffee before she goes running, that's the best time to do it. These are things you have to factor in. The water comes out the chiller very hot. Yeah, it did the last time I did it. Absolutely steaming at first. I love the waiting process. Right, I'm off before everything explodes. Take care. Cheers, mate. Cheers. So, 5 minutes to go. Usually start my brew day in the morning, that'll be the afternoon and the evening to drink beer. Can't fault with it. Absolutely can't fault with it. Wrong time of the day, really, to do this. Yeah, literally 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn this off. Yeah. And there you go. Yeah. So, yeah. It's been great to talk to everyone. Thank you everyone watching now and in the future for any helpful hints and advice. As soon as it gets to 49, I'll knock off and do the cooling down off camera. By that time, I can start shutting some windows and that, letting the because the cold air is getting cold in here now. Although there's condensation like buggery on the walls, so yeah, might have to leave the windows open a bit longer. Kept it down to about 22, so I've not lost too much. 22 litres isn't too bad. Obviously the hops take a bit out. When I did the Citra Pale Ale, they sucked a shitload. Let the hot water from the chiller run into the bucket, and that would do for cleaning, save money. I'm good. We're good for cleaning. But I know what you mean, and that's a good advice for anybody else. For people who are on a meter, because if you're on a water meter, we're not on a water meter, thank God. But yeah, that hot water coming out, and that's why breweries have heat exchangers, don't they? So the water they take in and out actually redoes the water for the next brew. So they only have to heat up a certain amount of it. Or am I talking shit? Could be talking shit, I suppose. So 3 minutes to go. Then I better clear my crap away and let the family have their room. But it's been an experience. I'll show you a picture of it just before I knock off. 2 minutes to go. So and I'll do an update video with the hydrometer reading before I put the yeast in. So there we go. Oops, that's what it's looking like. Really thick, chocolatey brew. So hopefully, if I've done everything nearly right, it turns out to be something quite nice. We shall see. We shall definitely see. 2 minutes. And cheers, mate. Cheers, Sharp. Thank you for joining in. 2 hours and 47. For those who lasted the duration, wow, you've done well. Next week, or even possibly Sunday morning, I'm going to do the sticky toffee pudding imperial stouts. Now I've refreshed my memory on what the hell you do and understanding what you do. I'll do it again, but I will do another live doing it as well. Learning lessons from this one, i.e. windows and doors and certain things, and have certain things ready in to do it. So 1 minute away and the boil's done. Wow, it's been a journey. Thank you for joining in. And for those watching now and in the future, it's interesting, this is only about 100 quid for this. What was that channel again? Kinders. Oh, my Ninkazi review was that. Yeah, Ninkazi review, is that what we was after? Right, so turn it off. We're trying to turn it off anyway. There we go. Right. When the water was sieve when chilled, helps keep the hops out. Ninkazi, that was it. That was a review. But anyway, gotta run. Everyone wants the kitchen. Thank you for watching. See you soon. And update video will come. Cheers all.